Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to East Vineland, New Jersey, back on Kubota Farm. Probably don't have to tell you this, but this is Farming Simulator 22. Oh man, I'm feeling a little bit, feeling a little goofy today. It's middle of the week. I don't know. It's been an interesting week so far. I don't know how your week has gone. My week has had its ups and downs, but you know what? We're trudging through it. Figured I'd get our I don't know what I call this. Forage pickup container. Um, yeah, forage pickup wagon container. Cleaned up a little bit. Boy, it must be either really dirty or I think that's just paint missing now at this point, isn't it? I think it might be. She's in rough shape. It's getting a little cleaner. I don't know though. That's probably good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's take a look at this, though. Let's see what condition it's in here real quick. Yeah, it does need a paint job, but you know what? We're not going to do that. You know we're not going to pay for paint. 35,000 paint job on the Kubota. I'm going to have to get Kubota in here next time they visit the farm and ask them about these $40,000 paint jobs and find out how that fits with their pricing structure, because I think that's probably half the price of this tractor. And I'm thinking something's not matching up. Anyways, or anywho, um, changed one thing on the farm. Had a little construction done, which is really weird when you think about it, because like the last time we got together, and we will get back to our baling and grass contract that we're working on. But I wanted to start here on the farm for a second. It's weird because it's 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock here, a.m. In April. I guess we could say it's April 3rd, and maybe last time we were together, or actually maybe we could even say it's the middle of April, and the last time we got together, it was the beginning of April, because it just seems weird that a lot of things can happen, like big things can happen in about 5 minutes. I'm just, just saying. But anyways, something new over here. We had some construction done. I couldn't help myself. You give me some money to play with, and I start spending it. So as you can see, they came and took away our silage bunker. They actually didn't tear apart the cement. They actually took it in pieces. Well, not just 3 pieces, but a few pieces. But they were able to get it to another farm, so it's maintaining a healthy life somewhere else in New Jersey. And then we bought this thing. This is a fermenting silo. Thought I'd give it a go. I figured, why not? We've done our bunker silo a few times. We're going to continue to do grass work here and there. And this is pretty darn convenient, actually. Pretty darn convenient. So basically, it'll take chaff, which is kind of nice, actually. It'll take grass and hay, and then it just spits out silage over a period of time. I quite like that. The other thing I like about this particular one, yeah, the sheep are a little bit freaked out at the moment, but they'll get used to it. It doesn't just take loose material. You can drop bales here too, and it'll take in bales, which is kind of nice. So even if we decide that we're going to bale some grass here, we can drop bales straight off there if we want to. Or we can use our forage wagon pickup jobber here and take grass over there as well. But I think we have, if I remember correctly, let's take a peek here. Grass. Oh, let's see here, grass, 74, almost 75,000 liters of grass. And we're trying to keep up some grass for the sheep because they do like to go through grass big time. 500 sheep require a lot of grass. I'm realizing that very, very quickly. Um, Actually, I'm kind of curious. I don't know if I remember how much grass does the sheep pen hold. Now that I think about that, I'm not entirely sure. Let's do something here real quick. On This is unplanned, unscheduled, unscripted, live action farming simulator. Is that a little bit of grass or something, or a little bit of straw right there or something? Let's grab some grass. Let's go grass grabbing. See, sometimes I make myself laugh. That's kind of weird. But yeah, we're gonna do some grass grabbing and take it over to the sheep and let's see what I think this thing holds 39,000 liters. Grass it is. Let's just see what this does for our sheep's food capacity. And while I'm thinking about it, I always forget like how many days it was since we last checked on food for like our chickens. They look like they're doing okay. We do need to cut the grain out on them though and continue on with the base food and the sunflowers to kind of get that balanced out a little bit for them. But as long as their health stays up, I think we're in pretty good shape. But let's cruise on over here to our sheep barn. I can avoid all these obstacles here. I'm tempted to dump it in there and make silage out of it, but I know our sheep need to eat, so I'm gonna. I guess I'll make sure they get fed. They do pay off well. We made a lot of money on that wool, so I can't complain too much about that. That's for sure. All right, just want to get right on the edge of that trigger. Please get on the edge of that trigger. Thank you. Oh, there's no way. Yeah, we're going to have to use the grain door. What do we have? Grain door and back? Yeah, we have to use the grain door. I was going to say, there's no way this trailer is going to start really, wow, going to town. Especially with that. Is that it? That does not seem like a lot. That's not it. We must have gotten yanked out of... yeah, we got yanked. This is going to be... Man, I'll tell you what, a pain in the hiney. I don't know how better to do this. Maybe I need to do this. Let's try a different... Let's try just a slightly different angle. Just a slightly different angle. If I can see what I'm doing. I kind of want to get it more... I thought last time that tree right in the way. I thought last time having it at a sharper angle worked better, but that's a little better. Oh, that'll work. That's all I care about. Just as long as it just keeps dumping, even though it's the slower dump, the grain door dump. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm just curious to see how much they hold, because we might actually be better off. Yeah, this thing's going to hold at least 70,000? Are they going through that much grass each day? I guess it's a month's worth. I always think of it as a day, but it's actually a full month. I don't know. 42. This thing's got to hold 70, 80,000. liters, so we could probably let's let this thing finish and see where we're at, see where we're left with. I'm wondering if we could empty our bale storage barn. I mean, it looks to me like it could hold, would not surprise me if it could hold the remainder, you know, the remainder of the grass that we have in our bale storage barn. They really do go through the grass. Fortunately, grass is, you know, cheap and easy to come by. The only downside, I guess, is all that grass they're eating could be silage, and all that silage makes us some pretty good money. But the wool, it's hard to argue with the money that we make on wool. Man, I forget I had dualies on here. All right, let's see, what do we have left? So we can take one more trailer load. Yep, that finishes off our grass storage. Now the question is, how long will that last? I have to think it's at least 2 months worth. I think it must be, because if I remember right, the last time I fed them, we topped it off. The last time we topped it off was just before we skipped ahead like 3 months to get out of the winter season, if I remember right. It was at least 2 months, I think, if not 3 months. So maybe this food lasts maybe 3 months. I'm gonna try and get this straight on again. Just as long as it can tip. Oh, that's close. As long as it can tip all the way back like that, and we don't have to worry about the trailer jumping everywhere. Wouldn't surprise me if it takes the rest of that, though. That is one big cylinder there. Kind of weird. It almost looks like, to look at that, that doesn't look like, if you look at the length of that cylinder, so that must pivot down there. We're gonna have to take a look at that. I'm curious if the cylinder sticks out below. That's got a lot of leaf spring suspension on that thing too. Look at how many, what do they call those, leaves, right? How many leaves are on that? Oh, that reminds me of a little story. Oh man, I actually am to this day surprised that I lived past this, that I lived through this experience. I honestly, well, let's take a look here. Yeah, so it must, all that whole cylinder must fit okay inside that thing. It doesn't really look like it curved it very much either, does it? Oh, a little bit left. We've got 3% left. You know what? We're just going to leave this here. And I bet by the end of the day, we'll be able to empty the rest of that grass out and the sheep will be happy. What was the total that took then? About 88.5? Okay. So leaf spring suspension. Yeah. So I worked for this company many years ago. It was in Illinois. I lived in Chicago area for a while. And I was trying to figure out, you know, I was in between different jobs and just doing my thing. And I have still to this day, I don't even know why I took this job. But we're just going to pick up a little bit of grass and check out our fermenter. So I took this job, and it was a salesman job for selling, erosion control Um, not equipment. I mean, I guess, yeah, equipment and supplies, I guess you could say. So basically, if you wanted to, if you're, if you lived on a house on a hill and maybe during rain season and stuff, you were noticing that the water was eroding the hill. Um, for like government, we did a lot of government work where for national parks and things, if they saw that there was erosion taking place, you know, they would hire us to either come in, excuse me, and put down plastic sheeting. Sometimes it involved stone. Sometimes it involved. Sometimes it simply involved spray grass. I don't know if you've ever seen that stuff. In fact, Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe actually had an episode where they did some erosion control. It was kind of an erosion control, partially a new. I think it was in a new subdivision or something, new construction, and they were spraying grass along this big hillside. And it basically, it's just it's grass mixed in with some other stuff, and you spray it out of this large hose, almost like a shop vac hose, but much bigger. And it sprays fertilizer, it sprays multiple things, and basically that's how the grass will grow. So instead of sod or going around and planting grass, it was a spray grass, like the old school, like the old stuff. If you were bald, you could get spray on hair. But anyways, if you don't remember that, that's a classic, by the way. Hair in a can. Oh my gosh. Absolutely fantastic. Let's dump this in here. We can hear the fermenting silo kick on. Now, I don't know about you all, but this is a lot easier than driving through a silo bunker. And I think it holds a total of 1,000,000 liters divided up by 3. So about 333,000 liters a piece, I think, if I remember reading right. What I read, if that's what I read, I think that's what I read. So yeah, so going back to this erosion control company, so I was a salesman for it, right? And cold calls and all kinds of nonsense. Hated it. Hated the job. I thought it was going to be fun. Hated it. But I got sent... Oh, man. That's a different story altogether there, too. I actually got sent down to Texas. I don't know why the boss picked me. To this day, I don't know why he picked me. Either he really hated me or he really liked me. I don't know which one it was. But I got sent down to Corpus Christi, Texas to manage, and I'm using my fingers in air quotes, to manage a job down there that they were doing. What a disaster that was. I had no business being down there. I had no business doing that. Let's see here. Do we want to just make the biggest bales? Can we do that though and use that auto stacker? That's my concern. Does that auto stacker pick up 240s? I don't know if it does. I kind of think it doesn't. I think it'll only go up to 220. Oh, look at Brad being wrong again. Arcusen? Is it Arcusen? Or is it Arcusen? I think it's Arcusen, isn't it? Yeah, it'll do 240s, won't it? That's what we have over here, right? I mean, we don't have a lot of choices in... Yeah. All right. Auto stack Arcusen FX63-72. What does this bad boy cost? 6372 is 90 grand. Okay. But it will do 240s. Let's do 240s then. Why mess around with wimpy bales? That's kind of a nice looking baler. It's kind of sharp looking. Little aerodynamic. Some aerodynamic, I guess. You get better mileage. I don't know. It's kind of funny, actually. It actually looks kind of nice, though. I kind of like it. Case IH. Oh, that reminds me of another little thing I got to tell you. But let me finish this story first, because I get sidetracked pretty easily, as you can tell. I know it's reserved for contract work. That's what we're doing. We're doing contract work. So, anyways, besides the Corpus Christi disaster, I'm so glad I came back alive from that one too. And I went down there. These people didn't know me. They didn't know who I was. I was just some young punk going down there to make sure that the job was getting done, because the reports were that these guys that they hired that were down there doing the work were messing around, drinking. Really. I mean, really. You know, what a shocker. So anyways, this guy, the owner of the company I worked for, it was just a husband and wife. She was not kind. She was not a pleasant person to be around or to work with. She definitely wore the pants in the family. He was actually quite nice. But man, I'll tell you, her word was it. You know what I'm saying? So some things are a little foggy to me, probably because I was scared for my life. But for some reason, I was chosen to take this truck. It's like a landscaping truck. It's basically really, really big. I forget if it was a Dodge or what it was, but it wasn't a semi, but it was bigger than a pickup. I don't know, really, you know what I'm saying? It was a construction truck, and it had a flatbed, and the flatbed in the back, if I remember correctly, it did have sides to it. But anyways, I was chosen to drive a couple hours. Now, mind you, this is in the suburbs of Chicago. I was chosen to take that truck, and the first thing I had to do was to go to this place, and they were going to add leaf springs onto the back, extra springs, extra leaves to bulk up the suspension, because the way the truck was at the time, it wasn't beefy enough for the load this idiot wanted me to pick up. And I'll tell you, I would have never done it. You know what I'm saying? With what I know now and my experience and stuff, I would have told him to go blow it. But I didn't know any better, and he made sure, he told me everything was going to be fine. Once these extra leaf springs were put on, it would have, enough suspension to be able to go pick up these pallets. And I don't even know what they were, but they were heavy, heavy, heavy. Man, I haven't done square bailing in a while, and I got to tell you, it is a joy. Just cruising along. No stopping, no beeping, no slowing down. You're just nailing out the bales. I quite like this. So I go to this shop, and they were able to do it. It probably took a couple hours. It didn't take long, for them to add these leaves on there. I don't remember exactly how long it really did take, but it didn't take that long from what I remember. And I drove out. Now, here's the thing, though. When you do stuff like that, okay, when you modify, and I know this now much better for multiple reasons, mostly because I've done a lot of modifying of Jeeps, okay? And I've owned a lot of Jeeps in my life, and I've done a lot of different kinds of suspension modifications on Jeeps. And I've learned enough to know that if you're going to add suspension, and sometimes it just depends on how much of us you're adding, it's going to throw some things off. Your drive shafts, if they're not at the right angle, different, steering linkages, things like this. It can wreak havoc, okay? That's what they call death wobble, right? It's called that for a reason, by the way. So, anyway, so I take this truck, get the leaf suspension upgraded on it, not thinking twice about anything else. Like, how much weight am I really putting in the back of this truck that's not designed for this much weight? Because this idiot thinks that having, suspension is the only differentiating thing between 2 tons and 12 tons. Let's not worry about brakes, by the way. Let's not worry about tires or anything else. It's just all about suspension. Ay. So I got done with getting the suspension upgrade, and I made it to the place to pick up these pallets. And this is Chicago, and the only reason I make that clear is if you've ever driven in Chicago, okay, there's, it's not like light traffic. It's not friendly traffic. There's toll booths. And there's a lot of things that aren't enjoyable. I've actually been in much worse traffic, by the way, than Chicago. I mean, shoot, go down to Houston or Boston, for God's sakes. Oh my gosh, Boston traffic is horrendous. So anyways, so I am driving down the Dan Ryan in this pickup truck, construction truck that's been modified recently. Who knows if it was even modified correctly? I have no idea. With I don't know how many tons worth of stuff in the back. It was the most frightening driving experience, without a doubt, I've ever had in my entire life. Braking was terrifying. The entire truck would sway side to side, just going straight down the road. Like, I could feel the whole back end of the truck, almost like if you have a trailer on the back of your truck that's heavily loaded in a bad wind, but there was no trailer, and I don't remember it being windy. It was one of the scariest driving, and I've been in some bad driving situations, but this was, I'm absolutely amazed I lived, and I'm also amazed that I made it back just fine with this thing. And I do remember telling him that was it. I was never going to, they could find somebody else to do that next time. That's not my thing. I'm not going to do that anymore. His wife was all cranky about it and stuff, but I didn't care. And I ended up quitting anyways because she was just, she was, wow, something else. Him and I went to some deal. I think it was a convention. And it's just a horrible job. I remember shared the same hotel room, which I'm sorry, it's just some things you don't want to do. And I just don't feel like sharing a hotel room with another person unless we're like friends, like not work acquaintances, but like friends, okay? But I shared the hotel room with this guy. I woke up one morning. This was like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where Steve, what's his name, goes into the bathroom and finds that nasty water in the sink where what's his name is soaking his dirty socks and underwear. That's what it reminds me of. I went into the bathroom, I turned the light on, and the floor was wet. And I'm like, what is going on? It's not what I said exactly, but I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh, the toilet backed up. We've got to call maintenance. Like, that is, what? That's disgusting. I am walking in poop water. It's like, you've got to be kidding. The entire job was just, it was horrific. Horrific experiences. And I haven't really even thought of that. I really haven't even thought of that place until now for a long time, which is really weird to think of that place while playing Farming Simulator. And now I completely forget why I'm talking about suspension. Wow. Okay, anyways, yeah. Oh, because of the trailer when we were dumping grass. That's when we were grabbing, when we were doing grass grabbing. That's right. So, horrible job. Surprised I lived through it, if I'm being honest. Horrible experiences. Comical now because I didn't catch hepatitis from staying in a hotel room with him, which thankfully I didn't. And thankfully I didn't die on the Dan Ryan driving a truck that was clearly overloaded. Do we have any grass? I think we got a little bit of grass over here we can pick up maybe, or did I? Yeah, it looks like I kind of missed some. We'll try and grab this last little batch here. And we gotta try and accomplish something this episode instead of me just yapping. But yeah, it was a bad experience, a bad work experience. I'm sure you all have had bad work experiences as well. What a nightmare, though. What a stinking nightmare. All right, so can we eject? Yes, we can. Thank you for that. Now, does it eject full-size bales, or are these kind of partials? 930. 930. Is that what they are? They're 930s? 930? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. Outstanding. Outstanding. I think the Case IH did a lovely job. Let's pick up our... Fold it up, pick up our pickup header there. Need some horsepower to drag this big baler around, though. Goodness. Thing's huge. Almost looks like it's just about as big, if not... It's got to be almost every bit as big as the Krone big baler, right? All right, let's get that out of here. Let's just try our Q's in out. See how she does. I think this is about a $20,000. Whoa, about a $20,000 contract we're working on. Yeah, 19.9 minus our costs for renting the using the equipment. Where do they want us to sell this? Take the bales to the Farm Shop North. Farm Shop North bales. Farm Shop. Whoa. Go back for a second there, Brad. Let's go back there for a second. Farm Shop North bales. Well, I'm going to guess it's in the north. Is that it right there? That would be it. And we're way over here in 90. Yeah, we're over yonder. So we got a little bit of driving to do. That's kind of stinko, isn't it? All right. Well, let's unfold our bale stacker. Thank you for that. Let's just see how she does here. Yeah, there was another deal. I forget what else happened there, but the thing is, the son was really nice. Like it was kind of a family, run business, owned and run business, and his two sons were really cool. They were really nice, and they were they were the ones that built the. They actually built the grass spraying machines. They built those from scratch. They were welders, and they would build those machines by hand. But they were pretty cool guys. I remember them getting a pretty good kick out of my my story with the going to pick up those pallets. I'm sure they were laughing because they knew they escaped death. Liking the sound of this vent. It's got some good grunt to it. Unfortunately, with all the emission stuff and everything they're doing nowadays, you know, you lose so much of that beautiful V8 sound and that diesel sound and stuff. It's just all going away, you know. The man is trying to bring us down with their emissions controls. And the more emissions controls they put on there, I like that. It picks up that dust. I never think I noticed that it picks up dust when it grabs those like that. That's kind of cool. The quieter these things get, they've already taken away our exhaust, our black clouds of exhaust out of there. It's a shame. But we have mods to save the day, right? There is a really, really good documentary. I really highly recommend that you check it out. It's about Harry Ferguson. And you probably know Ferguson from Massey Ferguson. And it's about the story of Harry Ferguson inventing basically the 3-point hitch on the back and taking it to Henry Ford here in the States, in Michigan, Dearborn, and selling Henry Ford on the idea that he should make tractors and use this new hitching system that will revolutionize farming, kind of thing, right? And I believe, if I remember correctly, Harry Ferguson is from Ireland, right? And the Fords, I guess Henry Ford's parents migrated from Ireland. Hopefully I'm not getting these facts wrong, if I can remember things more than a day. Such a really good documentary. Now, I skipped like the first 30 minutes, I think, of it, because it was kind of like that part of the documentary that I didn't care about. Like, Harry was raised by his mother and father. You know, I don't care about that, any of that stuff. I want to hear, you know, I want to hear the good stuff. I want to hear how things worked out, you know, with him and Ford and what happened there. And very, very, very good documentary, though. If you skip ahead, unless you're interested in his, oh, are you full? Dang it. Unless you're interested in that whole, you know, raise stuff, I would just skip ahead and go straight to the good stuff. Where are we at? We're field 90. I just want to get a quick idea. All right, so we need to head out here. All right. But there were things, I didn't really know that whole story. I didn't know the whole story behind how Harry Ferguson, I didn't realize that the early, you know, the original Ford tractors had Ferguson's 3-point hitch design on there, and that there were no contracts either. This was a handshake job. I mean, literally, Henry Ford and Harry Ferguson shook hands, made an agreement, and that was it. There were no lawyers. There was just nothing. It was just, you know, I agree, you agree, we agree. You know, let's call it a day. And where am I stinking at? If I'm going the wrong, oh no, I'm heading towards the right direction here. You'd never see that today. Holy cow. You know, that would be unheard of. But yeah, made a gentleman's agreement. Things were great for a while, of course. And then, as all good things must come to an end, most of it changed because of Henry Ford's death. And his grandson, I believe. Was it his grandson? No. It was his son. But it wasn't his oldest son. That's right, because wasn't his oldest son Edsel? Yeah, I think that's how it was, right? Because Henry Ford's oldest son was Edsel. Edsel, of course, we know Edsel from trying to do his own automotive stuff. He died, I think. And so it went to the next son, Henry Jr., Henry II. And a great story, though. Really good documentary. I would really highly recommend checking it out on YouTube. If you do a search for, I think it's just like Harry Ferguson documentary or something like that. Am I completely... Tell me I'm not... Am I like on the wrong side of the stinking map? I can't be, right? No, there I am. Okay, I'm doing all right. I thought so. All right, good. Whew. Man, I'm telling you, directions sometimes for me are not a good not good. I will try and remember to put that a link to that documentary in the description of the video. It's definitely worth a watch. I didn't know a lot of what they talked about. I had no idea. Maybe I'm like one of the few people that don't know all that, but it was super interesting, and it was really interesting to see, to hear about the lawsuit that took place when Ford borrowed Harry Ferguson's design for the 3-point. That was awesome to hear about. Yeah, very curious whole gizmo. I honestly didn't know how much of an impact the Ferguson and Massey Ferguson had on farming, and that's pretty cool to see, for sure. Let's get these dumped off here. It's probably going to finish our contract, I would think. I would think we'll have some leftovers for our own usage. Is this where I need to drop them off? I think it is. Let's find out. All right, so what is Y? I thought it was Y. It is Y. Okay. A little delayed Y, but it's Y. All right, so... Oh, don't even tell me. Okay. Whew. I was going to say, please let this be correct. And we should be making... Yeah, we're making some bank already, which is nice. So it definitely finished off the contract, unless I brought them to the wrong place. No, we finished off the contract. We won't close the contract quite yet. Just so I can take advantage of this equipment still. Like I said, it's a long documentary, actually. I think it was like an hour and a half, if I remember right. But I skipped through the beginning childhood business and went to the good stuff. Went to the point where they were showing demonstrations of Harry Ferguson's the 3-point hitch. They were showing like demonstrations of it and stuff. And whoa, man, it's a bumpy road. Once in a while, I score some good stuff on YouTube. Like there's always something usually entertaining to watch on YouTube. If nothing else, I just default to the to some of the hillbilly channels that are that are fun to watch. There's this one channel I love. He is funny. He's just kind of a monotone speaker. He does a lot of he rebuilds diesel engines. It's like his channel name is like the name of a cat engine. I think it's like cat something with numeric thing channel name. Anyways, he likes to record runaway diesel, Detroit diesels once in a while, which are pretty hilarious. He'll come across some used buses or different things that he will have some fun with. Yeah, it's a good channel. So I always default back to some hillbilly channels where they're either doing cold starts on diesels, um, wrecking diesels, trying to wreck a diesel engine. Um, yeah, I think you get the idea. Yeah. Always something entertaining that somebody is willing to. Sometimes it amazes me what people are willing to video and share. Like, I get it. You video, oh, that actually makes me think of something. Thankfully, and maybe one of the few reasons, and I think I can speak for a lot of people who went to school in the 80s, that where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? If we had video, oh, okay. If we had video when I was in high school. Now, we did have video, don't get me wrong, I'm not that old, but I mean like cell phone video, like easy video, holding your hand kind of stuff. Like, we had video, but you knew somebody was videoing when I was in high school because they had a backpack. The video camera probably needed a backpack for the batteries and stuff. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but you knew when somebody was videotaping you when I was in high school. But I can't even imagine the stuff we would have videoed when I was in high school. I mean, we were stupid enough, let alone the stuff we would have videotaped would have been honestly frightening if I'm being completely honest. It would have been like, I mean, I've told you some of the shenanigans already. I mean, but yeah. Probably the biggest piece of advice I give my kids is don't record things. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't put it on social media. You got to remember that stuff is there forever. Now you got employers, you go, it's not just about having a good interview anymore. Now it's like you got to pass social media screening. They're going to go out and look at your Facebook account and all this other stuff and say, see what kind of nonsense you're doing on there. That's crazy. All right, well, I think I'm going to leave us here for this episode. Again, if you're still with me, I do appreciate it. It's been fun. I'm glad we got this contract knocked out. I might do a little bit of work back on the farm yet before you see me again, getting our grass work picked up. We are close to harvest season, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Actually, I just thought of something. We should just hang on to this equipment for the time being. Because basically, with this equipment, we can do any contract job out there that doesn't require wrapping. I might take a look around at some other contracts and see, because this really did not take that long. We've got the crone, we've got the big crone, and we've got the big square baler. I mean, we've got the right equipment to knock out some contracts. I might just do that. Might as well. I mean, why not? I mean, you make $15,000 a pop. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me again. I do appreciate it. Happy Wednesday, like I said. Hope the rest of your week goes well. Hopefully, I'll see you here tomorrow, Thursday, back on Kubota Farm. And tomorrow is also Throwback Thursday. Sad news on Old Family Farm, but yeah. We'll. I'm sure there's always something to discuss when we go back to the Old Family Farm. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Make sure we take care of each other. And bye for now.